Hey, yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy, Evan, one half of MF Pearl. We got the other half sitting behind the camera, making sure that we rolling. We got David back there. You know what it is. Every Wednesday, Legends Only, live at MFHQ. Disclaimer. Live at MFHQ is in fact not recorded live. It's actually a pre-recorded program. This episode contains sexually explicit content, so feel free to do what you wish with that information. If you could be so kind of like, follow, and subscribe for me. We go very long with new episodes every Wednesday. Now back to the show. Yep. Yes, sir. Hey, make sure that you guys keep showing love on all the platforms. You guys can keep up with all of our full-length episodes on YouTube. Of course, you could always find them at mfpearl.com as well. You can stay up to date with all of our latest updates, all of our latest drops on Instagram. That's where we're the most active at MF Pearl. But of course, if you're checking out the podcast on any of your favorite streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, you know what I mean? Save it, like it, share it, give it a rating. Whatever you could do to show love, make sure you guys do so. It does wonders for us. But let's get back to the episode. Today we got one of my bros in the building at the HQ. Yes, sir. He's a great friend of mine, my brother. We met in college. We met through Omega Delta Phi, but more importantly, we also met through the College of Business, and that's where we got to really get close to having the same studies, having the same classes. But he's been able to experience a career that's closely tied to his education, which is always a good thing to learn more about because there's just a big stream of knowledge. And for the last 6 years, he's been with PepsiCo, and his growing role with the company has taken him around to a lot of different places and has gradually put him in larger leadership roles within Pepsi's world of sales. Hey, but him and I have balled up together. Like I said, we've taken classes, studied together, all that. Shit, man, we even hit the stage together to hit some raps. We got robbed on that shit. Yes, sir. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, live at the HQ, we got Christopher Cano in the building.
Let's go. Hey, hell of an intro, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I try to go ahead and leave some gaps.
Yeah, man. Yeah, hey, and I appreciate you guys having me. Big fan of everything that you guys do, the creative platforms and the community that you guys have built. I'm excited to see what you guys have accomplished over the past 5 years and looking forward to what the next 5 bring, man. So kudos to you guys and cheers to that.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Yes, man. Thank you for being at the 5-year anniversary.
Yes, sir. Man.
Oh, that was a big show, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it drained me. It drained us. It drained the team big time. It was a big project, but yeah, testaments, dude.
It was a great time, man. Everyone there had a great time, and I think mentioned before the podcast, you spoke that into existence, right? So
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
it's something that it's a baby of yours. So it was great to be there, great to be a part of the crowd, and like I said, looking forward to seeing what you guys accomplish in the future, man. I'm hyped.
Thank you, dude.
Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you for being here as well. Let's start, dude. Let's introduce you to the audience a bit. I went ahead and kind of summed it up as, sales within Pepsi, but I know that what you do is a little bit more on the leadership role.
Correct.
Now you're going in and working with some of the people that are probably like in your shoes back then.
Yeah.
So can you explain a little bit more about like what your career looks like right now?
I will, yeah. So I'll start. You mentioned college. So I'll start back at college. So first generation college student. Shout out to all the first generation college students that are watching today. Graduated with my bachelor's in business administration with a focus in marketing in December of 2017. And then started my professional career with PepsiCo, specifically Frito-Lay, in February of 2018. It's been a great experience ever since. So currently in my role, I'm a sales capability trainer. So I onboard the new talent and work with the new managers that come onto the company within my specific market. So my market includes Colorado, Las Vegas, Tucson, Phoenix, at New Mexico, and then of course the Sun City. So Sin City to Sun City.
Oh yeah.
Been doing that for about 2 years now and loving every second of it. I'm sure we'll talk about it more throughout the pod. Prior to that, I was in a district manager role. Did that for 5 years and had the opportunity to work with or to lead multiple teams and work with over 600 plus customers and really just build their business up. So it's been an extremely fun and successful 6 going on 7 years now, but we're just getting started, man. I think that's one thing I'm excited about. career's just starting, man. We're still young, so I'm excited to see all that comes from it.
Oh yeah, dude. How do you currently envision like your career so far with Pepsi in the sense of when you look ahead?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like um having almost 7 years now, you have enough context to kind of gauge whether or not this is like like a 10-year plan for you,
Yeah.
15-year plan. We can dive deeper as we go along, but I guess how do you kind of see that right now? Are there a lot of like things to check off within Pepsi still that you
Yeah,
want?
so primarily I just want to continue to grow, right? So I've had in the past 6 to 7 years, I've had a lot of success in the roles that I've been in. Coming in, I promoted early. I promoted within my first 9 months with the company, so definitely something I was proud of there. Within my first year of the company, also I was able to lead our campus recruitment initiatives. That's usually something that they give to more senior leaders, so I was able to take that on, and that's where I discovered my passion for really just building capability. And working with different folks and just helping them be the best that they could be.
Oh, dude, that's so good, man.
It's something like I said, I've been doing it for 2 years now, man. So it's been a great time and just
Yes.
seeing how those things work. And then 2022, which seems like it was just yesterday, but we're heading into 2025 soon, which is insane. But 2022, I had the opportunity to lead the #1 sales district in the nation. So that was definitely a fun experience. But like I said, lots of success so far, and I just want to continue to grow, man. There's one thing I love about this company, and why I've been with them so long is there's endless opportunities to grow. Whether I decide to stay on the training path, go into the HR field, get back into the sales swing of things. I mean, there's so many opportunities, and the biggest thing is this: I just want to continue to grow and keep climbing, man.
So, I guess what is the training and I guess like I don't know if you call it onboarding at all,
Yep.
but like what does that look like? What are you doing with them per se, and how long do you necessarily work with these people?
Yeah, great question. So the onboarding experience is different just depending on the role you're coming into. So part of my job is I onboard the new managers coming into the company, and I also onboard our frontline field sales team. And I'm a little less handsy or less hands-on with that experience, just because that's a lot of folks. So we bring in usually about 50 to 60 folks every single week.
Damn.
In terms of the frontline field sales folks. So work with them, kick off their onboarding journey, introduce them to the company, talk a little bit about some of the things that they're going to experience, what the rest of their onboarding will look like after me. But with the managers, it's an extremely hands-on process. So that's usually like a 8 to 9 month training process where I support it throughout that full journey. So initially getting them kicked off, introduced to the company, letting them know some of the things that we're going to focus on, having weekly check-ins, making sure that they're staying on track with what they need to. Leading different training courses focused on leadership, selling, the way we pay our people, things like that, really just to make sure that they're getting a good introduction to the company and some of the things that they're going to be doing. And then we cap it off with like a certification at the end of their training process that just shows that, hey, you know what, you guys are ready to become managers for this company, man. So it's very, very hands-on process, a lot of different steps to it, man. But it's fun. It's a fun role.
When you were doing the sales, when you were like barely coming into the company and everything, I guess I'm trying to understand who is it that you're trying to make the sales to? As Frito-Lay, I'm sure you're trying to, I guess, sell to. I mean, who? Like markets?
Yeah.
Supermarket?
No,
Like,
great question. So a lot of the sales, so that district manager role is really broken down into two parts. So it's you're selling into different customers. So your local corner store chains, Circle K,
Okay.
7-Eleven, stuff like that. But also working with our larger customers, Walmart, Sam's Club, all those guys. So you're selling into them, but you're also working and developing a team and making sure that they're able to sell as well. Because usually a typical district is what we call it, has around 200 customers. So as a district manager, you could do a lot of great things, but if you're not able to build your team's capabilities and empower them, you're not going to be able to have a great impact. So, selling in at local level, but also being able to develop your team's talent so they're able to sell at a high capacity when you're not around as well.
What's a district? Like
A district is just a geographical location. So,
El Paso?
so
Or all those cities you mentioned?
El Paso. So the way it's broken down, so I represent the West Market. The West Market is broken down to different zones. So there's the El Paso zone, Phoenix zone, Tucson zone, Las Vegas zone, Colorado zone. Each one of those zones is broken down to different districts. So
Okay.
you'll have a couple districts on the east side of El Paso, a couple districts on the west side of El Paso, so on and so
And you
forth.
say
Yeah.
about 200 customers per district.
Per district. Yeah.
Man, so like a zone would be fucking.
It's insane, bro. It's insane. And usually, I mean, there's
But
about
that also is just like Frito-Lay is a big company.
correct.
Pepsi's a big
Oh,
company.
huge company, right? And that, I mean, there's a lot of things that fall under the PepsiCo umbrella. So Frito Lay, Gatorade, Quaker.
At this point, are you with Pepsi?
I'm with Frito Lay.
Okay,
Right now,
still
correct.
with them.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that funny story there because when I initially, I mean, just dating back to college, when I initially interviewed for PepsiCo, I had 2 interviews scheduled, and I mean, I didn't know at the time like what fell under PepsiCo, what was PepsiCo, what wasn't. So went into the first interview, felt like I absolutely killed it. You know when you walk into a place and you kill it, bro. Like so, walked in, crushed it. I was like, I'm not even gonna go to the second interview, bro. Obviously, talked some sense into myself and went to the second interview, which happened to be with Frito Lay, and the rest is history, man. But yeah, so few different things that fall under the PepsiCo umbrella.
Dang. Um, and that's wild, man. So, with all these zones that you're looking over, like I guess what does your office look like? Is it just only here? Or you like I know you travel,
Yeah.
but how much are you traveling? What does
So-
that scope look like?
So I'm traveling. It just depends on the time of year and what projects we have rolling out. So usually travel. My role is scripted for about 40% travel.
Dang,
Beginning of the year, man,
Sounds
I
like
was
a lot.
moving. We rolled out a program focused on developing leaders because we have I think percentage wise, over 50% of our leaders have been with the company for 3 years or less. So really just working on different things to help them lead, fine tune their selling skills, and be able to have difficult conversations. So we rolled out a series on that, and beginning of the year, first 3 months of the year, man, I traveled maybe 6, 7 times. But since then, it's been real slow. I think I just got back from Albuquerque. I'll go to Tucson in a couple weeks. Back end of the year, I'll go to Phoenix. But outside of that, man, travel just comes and goes, just depending on the project that we're rolling out,
So
what
for
we're
the most
working
part,
on.
you're just here.
Correct. Yeah. So my office, I work from home. So
Oh shit.
yeah, I love that. But I do have an office at our building here, in El Paso as well. So
Yeah.
work out of El Paso, work from home, just depending on how I'm feeling that day. I'm a huge interaction guy though, bro. So I love to just interact with people. So I'll catch myself chilling at home. I haven't had any in-person interaction in a while, so I'm headed to the office just to talk to people.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good that like you still find yourself at the office even though you don't have to be there.
Yeah.
Somebody had said that a couple days ago, saying like that you gotta like point that out, man. So, um, I mean, we were just talking about it right now, and I geeked out a little bit on you pointing out on how important it is for you to just build capability. That's
Yeah.
how you worded it.
Love it.
And I think the reason why I geeked out a little bit real quick is just because like last couple weeks I just been the thing that's been on my mind, revolving around my mind the most is just improving on management.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm just thinking to myself like, when you're trying to like build these leaders, like, are you conscious of, I don't know, is there any sort of like conversations where you're trying to keep them from being micromanagers or anything like what do you mean, like what are you trying to do when you bring out the best?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
100%. No, great question. So whenever I'm working with new leaders, there's a few things that I focus on.
Yeah, like what do you want to build on?
Specifically, like not being a micromanager, right? You have to, like I said, you have to be able to build your team's capabilities because if you're not doing that, then I mean you're doing your team a disservice. But just focusing a lot on the qualities that leaders possess. So a great leader, one of them is being empathetic. So being able to
about that a lot.
understand, just being able to understand what your team's going through. You don't have to agree with it, but just being able to understand what your team goes through, being able to put people first and always give your team the benefit of the doubt. A great leader is an active listener, so you're not just waiting for your person to finish talking so you could throw in your 2 cents, right? You actively listen to some of the things and some of the support they need from you. An active leader is present, so just being present, showing your face, letting your team know that you're there to support them. A bunch of different things, but primarily those are some of the main things we focus on, and especially for a new leader, like most of these guys, similar to myself, most of these new leaders coming in with the company, they're 20, 21 years old, starting a fresh, brand new career, and they're managing folks that have 20, 30 years of tenure, right? So just being able to adapt and understand that no two people are the same. You can't treat two people the same. I'm not going to talk to you the same way I'm going to talk to David because maybe what motivates you doesn't motivate David, right? And vice versa. So just being able to understand that everyone's different, and you have to be adaptive when you're trying to build your management or leadership style.
Is that a learning curve for you, or do you think you kind of already had that down from the beginning?
I think that was something that
I mean, honestly, I could even attest to that a little bit
Yeah.
too. Just like working with you with OD5 and everything, and just being in class and seeing how involved you are all the time.
yeah.
But at the same time, do you think there was still a learning curve of trying to work with people that, I might not fuck with this dude, but we're in the same company and
Yeah.
neither of us are going nowhere. So
Yeah. So there was a learning curve for me. It was a small curve because I've had a lot of, not necessarily, we'll call them leadership experiences in the past,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, I think in order to be a great leader, a lot of that stems from some of your past experiences, right? There's a lot of stuff that can be taught, but there's a lot of things stemming from your past experiences. So, dating back to my personal life, I'm the oldest of five, right? So, naturally put into a leadership position.
oh yeah, true.
Sports wise, I told myself I wasn't going to bring up old sports because I'm not playing sports anymore. But playing sports, I was always like the captain of the football team.
I
Captain,
said I wasn't gonna
yeah,
bring it up.
little plug there. Captain of the football team, always put into a leadership position there. So I think a lot of that stuff stayed with me. Like you mentioned, a fraternity. Not only myself but you as well. Like we're constantly put into leadership positions, and we're able to thrive in those positions just based on previous experiences, right? So I would say there was a learning curve just based on, and it's something that I never even thought about, but just being able to lead different generations. Like that's something I had an experience before. Every single time I was put into a leadership position, it was with folks that were similar in age to me, or like in the sibling, in sense of siblings. I mean, they were younger than me, right? So, being able to walk into a building and know that I'm leading a team of gentlemen that are the age of my father, some of them the age of my grandfather, that was definitely a learning curve for me.
Man, PepsiCo.
PepsiCo.
Man, that's cool, man. And I think the parts that I'm most curious about is when I do take a step outside and I realize like there's like two avenues to marketing.
Yeah.
There's like the really creative visual side, but then there's like the strategic side of it
100%.
all. But would you say that your education is directly tied to it, or do you think it does stem into like a? Would you
Yeah.
separate marketing and sales, or do you think
So
a lot of what you went to school for does tie to it?
yeah, so I feel like a lot of it does tie to it, but I know, public service announcement, a lot of folks with marketing degrees avoid a sales career, right? Like you hear sales and you think of all the work that goes behind it. You feel like it's not tied directly to your major, or what you want to do. I promise you it is. There's a lot of things that we do in sales, that has to do with just being able to build relationships, to be able to market and sell yourself, to be able to market and sell a product or your team, and all that ties into that marketing degree, right? So I feel like a lot of the things are tied together, but that does take some time to learn. Because I know initially when I accepted the sales role, just like most folks with a marketing degree, right, I want to be in the creative space, and I said, hey, you know what? I'll get into a sales position. I'll dabble in the sales position for a little bit. Again, build my capabilities and see what comes from it. And I've loved every second of it, man. So I do believe that the two are tied together, in one way or another. You're asking some great questions, by the way.
Oh,
I
thank you,
gotta say, man.
thank you. Let's talk a little bit about like the mindset a little
Yeah.
bit. Like let's say Frito Lay comes in, but as you're getting ready to graduate, or as you're like in the last year or so of your university career, uh, what open how open was your like line of sight for what your career might possibly go to? You know what I mean?
Man, I had no idea. So, I tried to just, I mean, got closer towards graduation, and really knew that I had to decide, what I wanted to do with my life post college. I mean, was able to be a part of a lot of great organizations in college, and do a lot of great things, but I had no idea what direction, I wanted to go. So I was pretty open to everything. I know, just again, based on my previous experiences, a lot of those experiences were based on building relationships. So I worked for Anheuser-Busch while I was in college as a brand ambassador, so that was fun. Spent some time with UTEP sports marketing, which was an amazing experience. One that, I mean, just as an ex athlete, right? Just being a part of,
Oh yeah.
being able to see the different side of sports that you never saw when you were out
The
there on the
promotion
court. Or,
side
yeah,
of
man,
it
it's
all.
insane to see all that. And then also did some time in home healthcare, which is random, but I mean, it really just ties to that relationship building piece. So I knew whatever I did, I wanted to continue to build relationships. And when, I went to the career fair and saw, PepsiCo, it intrigued me just because obviously a huge name, big name company, but also, in reading the job description, just having the possibility to lead a team, again at a young age, coming in and being able to lead a team. Not many companies offer that, so, that intrigued me, of just having that possibility to continue to lead, continue to do something, that I enjoy doing, like building relationships.
Man, Yeah, dude. I'm pretty. I don't know. I'm pretty sturdy on the fact that like I think the that I have made the most of like the marketing degree. I know that it's
Yeah,
always it's always like I feel like it's one of those conversations that you have with people that could go either side of the fence. There's a lot of
100%.
people in the world who maybe feels like their degree or their education just kind of didn't really go in the direction that like the rest of their life went, and some people don't have the same college experience.
Yeah, and I think to that, and I've swear we've had this conversation before, but to that point, like there's a lot of folks with degrees that aren't in the field that they necessarily thought they would be in, right? But they
For
were
the
able to,
better.
yeah, they were able to get that job. Exactly, they were able to get that job because of that degree, right? What a degree shows is, I mean, you're able to stick to something, you're able to push yourself, and you're willing to grow. So 100% for the
Okay, let me
better.
ask. Let me ask this. And would you say that your experience in college? Would you say the most value that you got was it in the classroom or was it outside of the classroom?
I would say it was outside of the
Ah,
classroom.
okay.
Again, just being a part, and that's why like so I do career fairs often,
Mm-hmm.
and
Ah,
I mean
true.
folks are always asking for advice, and the best advice they give, especially for freshmen, is hey, you guys have to get involved. Like hey, do great in the classroom. I mean you have to do that as well, right? But you have to be able to get involved and build yourself up, build those relationships, build that network because that takes you a long way. Of course, you're gonna learn a lot of great things in the classroom, right? And there's a lot of skills that you learn in the classroom that will carry you into your next role. But I feel like from being a part of different organizations, you're able to build upon yourself a lot more.
When you're doing like the career fairs or whenever you're seeing new people coming in, what do you think? I know that we've talked about like qualities that you're trying to build
Yeah.
and that you're seeking for, but what are like some of? Because I would imagine throughout these last few years, there's like standout people that
Yeah.
you've
Oh
seen. You
yeah.
just stumble across a career fair. Like, what is an example of a standout person that you're like, oh, dude, like
Yeah.
if you apply right now, you're in type of shit.
The
Like,
main
what does that
thing
look like in a person?
it's energy, the energy that they bring, right? 'Cause
Can
like
you
you
also sniff out when it's kind of like fraudulent though,
100%.
fugazi?
Oh, 100%, man.
Okay.
So I like to I talk a lot about building authentic relationships, but so you could tell when someone's not being authentic, right? But in terms of the energy piece, when someone just I mean they approach you with confidence, they have a high energy to them. They kind of have that glow. You know that they're going to be put in. That's someone that you want to bring on board, or that's someone that you want to work with. Because you could just tell right from the start. And hey, sometimes it's not like that. Some folks aren't naturally full of energy, extremely confident, and that's okay. That's something that you could build. But when someone has those intangibles, I mean, they stand out like a sore thumb. I think the
It ain't on
reference
the
is,
stat sheet.
hey man, it's definitely not. And those are things that I mean make a great leader because a great leader has to be able to motivate a team. At the end of the day, I'm sure you guys have seen that graphic, like a leader versus a boss, right? Like you have the leader up front, like helping the team move that mountain,
Hell yeah.
compared to a boss, he's standing on top of the mountain, pointing directions, bro. You have to be a leader, man, and you have to bring energy because your team's going to feed off that. And there's going to be times where your team doesn't want to run the play, doesn't want to go the direction that the company wants them to go. But you, as a leader, having that energy, making them believe in yourself, believe in the play, goes a long way.
I think you just also got to show like yeah. I mean, like you said, like being in the front, like showing that you can do the exact job with them too.
Yeah.
I think Michael Jordan said it in the Last Dance. Like, I'm not asking you guys to do anything that like I'm not doing myself, type
Yeah.
of shit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Shout out to Michael, man.
Yeah, man. I guess for you, I would imagine that work wasn't necessarily always from home. So like, what was that? What is that like for you?
Yeah, so it was for me. It was since I mean, so I have two kids, two beautiful kids at home. I'm a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. Half of my career has been working at home since I've had them, but the other half, it was all about, and even now, it's all about just trying to stay as consistent, trying to stay as consistent and as planned out as possible. So one another thing I teach consistently for new leaders is hey, one of the biggest things you can do to be successful is to plan and prioritize your day, and that's something that I live by, especially when I was in a role where in a district manager role, man, it's always I mean you're always on, you're never off. So you're getting calls from your team starts the day at usually 4 or 5 in the morning. So you're getting calls at 4 or 5 in the morning when they have an issue. They're working 10 to 12 hour shifts every day. So from 5 to 5, they're working on the weekends. So you're constantly getting calls. You're never really off. You're constantly getting calls about fires happening when, I mean, something isn't going right in store, and you're the go-to person there. So Just being able to have a routine so I could avoid those fires, and again, just build my team up to where, hey, if there's a certain situation that you're dealing with, here's how you deal with it. This is how I would deal with it. I'm going to teach you how to deal with it. Again, so we're building you up as well, because the goal isn't for you to be just like for me. The goal isn't for us to be in these positions forever, right? The goal is for us to do our best, crush these positions, and then continue to promote, right? And that's something that was big with my team. So early on, again, early on in my career, I dealt with a lot of fires, and it was tough. But like as I grew as a leader, and I learned to grow my team as a leader, stuff like that became less and less. But then now, one of the most important things for myself is having a plan and sticking on schedule.
When you say that, are you like, is it as simple as you're making it sound? Not simple like it's a simple thing, but like every morning type of thing. When you wake up, you outline the day type of shit now.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah,
So,
some
and
fucking
it's got
efficiency shit.
bro.
Oh, dude, I love that
Efficient
stuff.
as fuck, and it's gotten to the point now
You're
where
just removing uncertainties.
100%.
There's no room.
There's
for
no room for
questions
it.
here.
There's no room for it.
You know what it
And
is.
you know what's cool, man? Seeing my kids. So like my son is the same way now. So every week I have to print out a calendar for him so he knows what to expect for the week, because he likes to know
Oh, nice.
every single detail of the day. And obviously with mine it's a little bit different. His is all pictures. I'll show you later, but his is all pictures of what we're gonna do today. So a picture of school, picture of him doing homework, soccer practice, all these things, because he likes consistency. He likes structure in his day. But I mean, Monday through Friday, typically, myself and my wife wake up at 6 o'clock, get ourselves ready, get breakfast ready, wake up the kids around 6:30, get them fed, dress, off to school, work from about 8 to 3, have to break off to go pick up the kids, get the kids home, chill a little bit because I want to get right from school to homework, give them a little time to kind of wind down a little bit. While they're winding down, typically that's when I catch up on anything I wasn't able to complete throughout the day. Then we jump into homework, dive into homework. The kids are very active, so we'll have some sort of practice. We either have soccer, which I'm a soccer coach now somehow, so we have soccer. Hey, my footwork is crazy though.
I don't know, man.
I be killing these 5-year-olds, bro. I'm telling you. But soccer, kung fu.
I would hope, dog. They're fine.
Yeah. Hey, bro. Hype me up sometimes. But
Hype me up sometimes.
either soccer or taekwondo. Or just,
for real?
Oh yeah. Well, taekwondo, kung fu. Sorry. So either soccer practice.
You got them both in
or
there?
kung fu. They're both doing. So my
Damn.
daughter will dabble. She'll dabble with soccer a little bit, and if she's not feeling it that day, she'll go play at the playground with my wife.
Are you learning some kung fu in the background?
Hey, I
trying to pick it
got
up?
moves, dog. Let me mess around and find out. But yeah. So if we're not doing that, kids love to be active and outside. So we're going to the park. We're playing at the playground. We get back home, shower up, get ready for dinner, start the bedtime routine, and then start it all over again the next day, man. So almost every single second of the day is scripted, and it just, I mean, I feel like if you're trying to balance a career where you want to continue to grow, but also be there and present for your family, I feel like that's something that you need. If you're leaving things up to chance, and there's really, I mean, there's a lot of things that you're going to miss out, because my main thing is I want to be present. I want to be present in those moments. So when I'm with my kids, I'm trying to put down the phone, trying to put work away, and just enjoy those moments, man. So I'm staying on schedule. Planning and prioritizing my day goes a long way. On the weekends, it's different, bro. On the weekends, we chill, man. We do what we want. Usually have a soccer game every Saturday morning, and besides that, man, we're free, and I enjoy those moments too, right? I mean, it's great to have things scheduled, but it's also great to have some downtime.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I mean, that's
I do think majority of it does have to get scheduled though.
Oh, 100%.
There's just too much work to be done.
yeah,
Dude. Like,
and you guys understand that. I mean,
Yeah,
more than anyone, right? I
oh
mean,
yeah,
you have to.
It
plan.
gets tricky too.
Yeah.
Let me ask really quick. You're on salary, right? Is that a fair question to ask?
Yeah. I'm
so
sorry.
then you essentially get to be pretty much in control of how you pace your workout.
Correct. Yeah, and that's another draw. Something that drew me to the company from the jump. I've been salary plus bonuses and all that good stuff.
I know that there's a conversation about what's better.
Yeah.
You know, everything
Yeah.
does have its cons, but at the end of the day, I don't know. There's something about being able to dictate how much time you're giving yourself to finish a project.
And that's one thing I love about it, because like I said, like there's days where, I mean, my days are full with the kids, right? So I'm
Yeah.
able to fully lock in on the kids. Once they're in bed around 9 o'clock, I'm able to come back and finish working. And one of my ex bosses, she's the same way, man. Like there was times where I'm up at 9 or 10 o'clock, she's up at 9 o'clock. We're like sending each other emails, because that's just how we work, you know. We'll work as efficiently as possible throughout the day, get back to our families, and then boom, get back at it at night when we have an opportunity to.
Yeah. As a father.
Yeah.
speaking of all the planning and prioritizing, how do you visualize how you're gonna play it out when's the first time one of your kids is gonna get a phone or like a
Yeah.
screen or something,
Yeah,
dude?
that's
Yeah, how do
crazy
you
that
see
you ask,
that?
man. So definitely not thinking about phones yet. That's we still got some time
Or
for
like a
that, man.
little tablet,
Yeah.
dude. They're gonna.
So we
Oh man.
we use tablets every now and then, especially because
Okay.
they use them for like projects in school.
All right, all right.
But man, there's
It
like
ain't textbooks no more, huh? That's crazy, dog.
bro, it's insane. Like there's we have a couple of friends that we're visiting different schools for their kids because our kids are in private school right now. We just felt like it was the best option for them. There's a lot of great things that come with that.
Yeah.
But in visiting other schools, you see like a lot of schools really lean into textbooks, some really lean into the iPad, and we're trying to find a good mix because technology's here, bro. Like it's not going anywhere. So I feel like kids have to be able to navigate that. But in terms of like just trying to be a present father, man. Again, it kind of just all goes back to that. It all goes back to that foundation of, I mean, for me, if something is not, if it's not benefiting my family, if it's not benefiting my personal growth, if it's not benefiting my professional growth, then I have no time for it, man. I really don't
the thing
because
that ties back to ruling out uncertainty.
100%.
Does it benefit the family? Yes or no?
There's no
You know
room
what I
for it,
mean?
man.
Yeah.
Especially with kids. Like anyone who has shout out to all the dope parents out there as well, not just dads, moms. I mean, parenting's tough, right? Because it goes back to really just making sure that you want to do anything you can to put your kids in a position to succeed, right? And every parent wants their kids to do better than they do. And I mean, there's a lot of thought that goes to it, right? So like I said, my kids are currently playing soccer. But I know that my son wants to start playing basketball soon, and my daughter wants to start doing ballet soon. So
Season's coming up.
the thought process behind that is like, hey, he's gotten really good at soccer, and my daughter's starting to come to her own too, and the season runs year round. So I'm like, if we pull him from soccer and put him into a different sport, all the other kids are going to continue to develop. Where hey, maybe we're not going to continue to develop in that way, but we'll develop in this other sport. So when we come back to soccer, maybe we're not going to be as developed as these other kids, right? So just trying to, even with the kids, man, trying to think everything through strategically. Yeah, it's a process, man, but it's a blessing, bro. I love what I do. I love being able to balance my job, or I love being in a role where I'm able to balance my job and family. It's something I'm extremely grateful for.
I mean, with the role that you have too, it's like a lot of the skills and growth you're doing in there completely applies.
Yeah,
to
100%.
you. And I mean, it's pretty easy to turn off you just change the verbiage, you know?
Yeah, I catch myself using the same verbiage sometimes. I was in New Orleans for a training, and I got a call from my wife that my son needed a talking to. So gave him a talking to, and then my coworker was with me, and she's like, "You literally like tell him the same things that you're telling a trainee. So hey, you need to dial in. You need to make sure that we're focused on some of the things we want to achieve, right? So verbiage does change, man. But I find myself talking to my son and my daughter like they're 21-year-old leaders sometimes, man.
Hey, sometimes I've been thinking about it. Like, if I ever saw like a crying child, the last thing I would do is like yell.
Yeah.
I feel like if I talked to them with complete sentences,
Yeah.
big words, they'd actually would get so confused that they'd stop crying.
And
Like, part of me feels like that's actually the right thing to do is just talk to them like they're like an adult.
and that's definitely the right thing to do, man.
You know what I'm
Because
saying?
I mean, when you
Like, help them understand bigger words, sure, but
you have to make sure that kids understand that hey, like especially as toddlers, they're no longer babies. So I talk to my kids, we have intelligent conversations because that's something that's going to stick with them compared to if I'm giving them the baby talk and stuff like that. It's going to continue to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not going to help them develop into the adults that we want them to develop into, right? So constantly having educated talks with my children, constantly pumping them up when they're doing great things. We talked about it before we start the pod, but celebrating the small wins as much as I
Yeah.
celebrate the big wins with my kids goes a long way, man, because I want them to feel confident in their abilities. I want them to know that, hey, if they're doing great things, then they're going to get appreciated for that. They're going to be rewarded for those great things. But also letting them know that, hey, when there's an opportunity, there's an opportunity. And just like I have opportunities or things I need to work on, just like new leaders have opportunities and things they need to work on, kids come across opportunities and things they need to work on too. So we dive into those opportunities and we work on those, man. And that's why I feel like, I mean, like you mentioned, what I do for a living, along with my family life and what I've been doing my whole life, man, it all kind of boils down to that and to that coaching bubble. I'm coaching, I'm developing people, and I feel like it's easy, like you said, to turn off the switch, but keep some of those aspects going in my personal life as well.
Damn, dude. That's really good that you're able to see the overarching quality that's being formed through it all.
Yeah.
Because we create these different projects that are going on, and eventually we start to realize, hey, there's something that's going on right here, and like what we're doing is, um, I don't know if like development for the city and in the arts and music
Yeah.
department, something, but like you end up seeing the bigger purpose of what you're doing. So as you word that in what you just said, do you ever have any long term visions of you being like a huge public speaker at any point or anything like that?
So
Like,
I've thought about it. Yeah. So I mentioned personal growth. So if
yes, yeah, yeah.
something or if something doesn't fall into those buckets of personal, professional, or my family, I'm not really messing with it. And this is one of those things that falls into that personal growth bucket, right? Just, I mean, I talk for a living. I speak in front of 50 to 60 people at a time, virtually in person. But for some reason, man, when that camera's on, I start rambling. So I figured, hey, let's hop on
It's
the
different.
let's hop on the pod real quick, and let's develop, man. Let's see this as an opportunity to get better, and then have a good conversation
Yeah, of
as well,
course.
man. But yeah, 100%.
Well, like, what are some? I guess how much do you implement into what goes on with your position at work? How much of the vision and creativity do you get
Yeah.
to implement into like the training programs per se?
Yeah, great question. So, a lot of the programs that we implement, or a lot of the things that we do, are made prior, but we have the creative freedom to adjust those as we see fit.
Okay.
So like there's a lot of different courses I teach. I mentioned selling. So there's like a pre-made selling deck, but I'm able to lift and shift, add, subtract as I want. I've been teaching that course for 2 years now, and just really diving in and giving it my own spin is something that it's been a unbelievable experience because I see the growth that folks have from day one to day five at the end of that course. So
Yeah.
yeah, lots of creative freedom in
Yeah.
that process.
I was asking because you say once the cameras come on, there's room for growth here because it's a whole different
Yeah.
environment. But like, I don't know if there's ever ideas for you to implement into the company on like I don't know, maybe there's new things that involve, I don't know, filming some of the programs or
Yeah.
anything like that, and just like having a digital format of it,
Yeah.
or just some like that's just an example of what I mean by like if you have any freedom to suggest things
100%.
that
Yeah.
add to your own personal growth
And
as
what
well.
what I've done in the past, because again, it's something I know that I want to work on, is I just pre-record different sessions, right? So get myself in front of a camera, pre-record it, walk through it a few times just so um, I'm comfortable with that process. So yeah, definitely something I'm working on for sure.
Is that part of the that's initiative right there?
Initiative. Hey,
That's
I
one of
mean,
those leadership qualities. Throughout this conversation, I don't know if you noticed, but we've been kind of tackling
yeah.
qualities as we
Oh
go.
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think we're on initiative right now.
I love it, man. And I think as a leader, you
Yeah.
have to be able to take initiative, right?
Yeah, dude.
You can't just sit back and wait for things to fall in line or wait for things to happen. You have to jump up front and again be a leader, take initiative and be able to lead yourself or your team or whoever you're leading. So I love that you mentioned that we're tackling different leadership qualities and there's a bunch of different qualities that make a great leader, right? And hey, sometimes as a new leader or as someone who hasn't led a certain team before, maybe you don't have all those qualities. But the great thing is you're able to learn most things are you can learn most things, right? You're just being able to have that attitude of, hey, I'm willing to give it a shot. And I think that truly goes a long way. So I
Yeah.
love that.
Are there any parts in your life where, at the moment, where you're not necessarily a leader, you're not necessarily, experienced in? I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, are there any pieces of life right now where you're a beginner again,
Yeah.
and you're like learning the ropes at something?
So when I first started teaching soccer about a year ago, that was
Oh
something that I
shit!
had to
Yeah,
dive into.
yeah.
And now with my son playing basketball, I mean, I know the game of basketball, I enjoy the game of basketball, but how do I teach and develop a 5-year-old to do that, man? So I'm a student of the game all over again, right? So I'm diving into the UTEP videos to the YouTube videos,
Mm.
looking up different articles on how to develop talent. In a 5-year-old, like what are some of the things that we need to
The
focus
mic
on
and
to build,
drill.
bro?
Don't let him become Angel
We're
Reese.
we're, dri-
Don't
we're,
let him
dri-
become Angel Reese,
we're
bro.
dribbling, bro. Like we're practicing dribbling, the basics,
Mm-hmm.
chest passing, bounce passing, having a good form on your shot, and like I feel like a student all over again. But that's not new to me because I feel like whenever I get comfortable in a role, I feel like there's always room for improvement and always room for growth. So I'm always trying to learn new things about my current role, about potential future roles. So yeah, there's many things in life where I just feel like I'm a student, man, and I love that. I love learning. I have a passion for that as well. So
Um, kind of diving more into like the physical aspect of it all. You asked us if we've been running lately and
Yeah.
everything, and I know that you've been on your own journey of it as well. But
yeah.
I guess how do you define your relationship with just like fitness? Like now that you're a dad, there's so much stuff that takes up your day. How important is it for you to still like be healthy?
Yeah.
And not let yourself go and not take the easy route, get fast food real quick all the time.
It's extremely important for two reasons. Number one, kids are sponges, so they soak up
dude,
everything
yeah.
you do, bro. So if my kids see me sitting around all day doing nothing, then they're gonna want to sit around and do nothing, and they're gonna feel like that's okay. And also, I
Being
just
on your phone
oh,
instead of
bro,
watching the soccer game.
100%, 100%. And the second piece of that is, I guess, just being able to keep up with my kids. That was one big thing. So there was a while after I graduated where I let myself go a little bit. Like, hey, it happens. I wasn't into just started a new career. Part of
Getting
the
that
trading,
check.
getting that check that I never seen
Yeah.
before. There's a part of your training process where you're put onto what we call the route, so you could see what the team that you're doing is like, what their day to day looks like. So 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. every single day, I'm waking up. I still have roommates at the time, so my roommates are just getting in from Cincy or playing Call of Duty,
Oh,
bro, at
fuck.
4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to work pissed. So yeah, there was a while there, and then after, I mean, I think within the first year or two that I was working with Frito Lay as well, eating lots of amazing papitas, we found out that we were having my son as well. So work, prepping for a baby, let myself go a little bit, but I knew that in those moments, if I wanted to raise a active kid, now kids, if I wanted to raise active kids, active children, then I had to be a role model and a leader. And that's when I decided to step it up, man. So I'm extremely active. If I'm unable, the great thing with my job is the flexibility. So if I'm unable to get in a workout throughout the day, then usually at that nighttime routine or during the nighttime routine when my kids are asleep or being put to sleep, that's when I'm able to get in a session. So trying to stay as consistent as possible with that as well, and trying to find creative ways to stay active. Me and David talked about it earlier, but I feel like if you're doing the same thing consistently, workout wise, it may get a little boring. So just trying to find ways to spice it up, getting into running, in and out of running, working out. If I'm out running, I'm working out, playing flag football. Just retired from flag football.
Playing at Cosmos Park.
Just haven't played
Twisted
at
ankles.
Cosmos. Haven't played at Cosmos in years, man. Shout out to Cosmos. I'm just doing whatever we can to stay as active as possible, both for my health, but also my mental health, man. I just had this talk with my wife the other day, but I feel like when I'm working out, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this way, but when I'm working out, when I have a great workout on the day, I just feel like I have so much more mental clarity throughout the day. So yeah, that's definitely something that's important to me, and it's important to my kids as well because, like I said, man, if they could stay active all day, they will stay active all day, and I love that. As exhausting as it is sometimes, I love that they much rather be outside than watching TV, right? And don't get me wrong, nothing's wrong. I mean, my kids love to watch a movie as much as the next kid, right? But they much prefer to be outside on the playground or practice. Like my son will ask to go outside and practice soccer. My daughter, I set up like a little wooden beam in the back so she could practice after she watched the Olympics. Big Simone Biles fan, so she likes to walk in this little piece of wood,
Yeah,
bro, and
dude.
she'll dismount and do the whole thing. But that's what they love to do, man, and I love being a part of that. And
I'm so
hey,
glad that you had them watching the Olympics,
hey,
man. They
happens
not
once
had
every
them, but like, yeah.
Hell, bro, it happens once every 4 years. Like I made it a point to make sure that, hey, like we have to watch some of the greatest to ever do it, especially Simone, man. Like I feel like I didn't
She
really
gets
appreciate,
up, dude.
bro. Like I didn't appreciate what she did. Obviously, she's a goat. Everyone knows that. But just sitting back and watching her and how she competes and how much better she is than everyone else is just insane,
Oh,
bro.
dude, I actually criticized her heavy during 2020
Oh yeah,
because of
yeah,
the heebie-jeebies or whatever they're
yeah,
called.
yeah. I saw that too, and
The twisties.
I think at that
But
point
when I
too.
saw her get up on her floor routine in Paris, I was like, nah, she's getting up like a whole. Y'all saw that
Bro,
difference, right?
and
Like
you could tell,
it's a different league.
just the look in her face. Like I'm sure you guys noticed that too. Like the piece that she had in these Olympics compared to
Oh yeah,
2020. I
yeah.
just feel like she was out there having a good
True.
time, having fun. So shout out to the goat, man. We're bringing up a lot of goats today.
The Olympics, man. I loved watching that. I was saying it in episode 30 when
Yeah.
it comes out. You if you watch it, you'll see that it's like, dude, I had a laptop there just next to me whenever I was working, or like if I was at home, I had a big widescreen.
Yeah.
And I'll just be working on a design project, and I just felt like I had to turn up because like I was watching greatness at the same
It's
time.
insane,
Dude.
bro. Like it's
It
motivating.
really
Man.
turned me up, and I wish it was still around. I mean, the Paralympics are, but whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, nah. I mean, I obviously can't rely on just watching something while I'm doing something. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I was like, what are we about? Like almost a month removed from it.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, oh damn, I still got that fire to be
It's great.
great,
It's
bro.
greatness,
Like
man.
like you see what it takes, and
Yeah.
like the narrations, the commentators, like they tell, it's like a level above regular commentators.
Yeah.
Like they're really giving you narratives on all the athletes, and I'm just thinking, dude. So since then, man, it's been a whole different turning point. Like
Yeah. And I feel like
those qualities have stuck with me.
and I feel like that's a strength of yours. Like, and a lot of people aren't able to do that. Like
Sponge.
being able to grab greatness from different avenues and use that as motivation to
Yeah,
motivate
inspo,
you
all
in
that.
whatever you're doing. Yeah. So I mean, and that's what we saw, bro. And I think as those Olympians, I mean, they push themselves hard every single day, but you have to strive for greatness in life, man. And I
Yeah.
think that's something. I mean, staying as positive as possible. I feel like that's something that people just don't. Many people don't strive for these days, and that will never be me. Like I'm someone that every single day I wake up, I want to be great. I want to be better than the day before because I fully believe that quote. Like, hey, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse, man. Like, there's no staying consistent, or there's no staying like in that midpoint. So,
Yeah, and there's so much room to get better every day.
and so many different
That
things,
and like
man.
to think there was not a single thing you were able to improve
Yeah.
on that day. It really does feel like a day wasted.
100%. And I mean, I feel like I mean, if you have to hold yourself to that standard of, hey, I want to be great. But at the same time, I think something that people struggle with, especially new leaders, like going back to my role, I feel like something people struggle with quite often is holding themselves accountable, which is something that I'm able to do, right? So I hold myself to greatness. I expect greatness. I work hard. Which again, you guys understand that process, but I also hold myself accountable, and I know that hey, if I'm fucking up, I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I'm not gonna beat around the bush because I wouldn't want anyone to do that to me, right? You're your own worst critic, and you're your own biggest cheerleader at the same time, right? So if I'm doing great, I'm hyping myself up, but if I have opportunities, I'm gonna dive into those opportunities as well, right?
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna let like if somebody tells me where I could be better, that's fine. But chances are, I told myself
Oh
first.
yeah,
I got another quote for you. Another quote.
lay
Another
it
quote.
on me.
Kobe. I think in one of his books, there's a quote that says, "There's no like, there's nobody that could hold me to a higher standard or have any higher expectations of me than I already have of
Facts,
myself."
facts.
And I was like, "Ooh, that shit's cold,
Yeah.
dude." It's like, you know, man. Yeah.
And that's
Sorry,
something.
I give
No,
myself chills when I think about it because I repeat it to myself throughout my
yeah.
days, dude. Uh, have you heard of positive affirmations?
Oh, 100%.
But have you seen like the the Pinterest versions of them where it's like I am enough or everything
Yeah.
like that? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to downplay them, but dude, I have crazy positive affirmations. I be telling myself shit like that, bro.
And you have to.
And
And,
like it gets intense, dude.
well, we just talked about it, like when you talked about the whole Against the Grain show, like
Yeah.
on a previous podcast, you spoke how that was going to be successful and that
Yeah, my
happened.
positive affirmations are like really laid out, specific, repeated sentences I say to myself of
Yeah.
what I'm gonna get, dude. And
Do you mind sharing those or?
no, well, Against the Grain was one of them, but like right now I've been having just inconsistent transportation, so like I really need to get this new set of wheels, and
Yeah.
every morning, bro, I'm just laying out my financial plan like almost
Yeah.
every day, dude. Like just repeating to myself, just to remind myself before I go and accidentally pick up some fast food on the way home or
Yeah.
something like that. I'm just like, nah, like there's food at the crib, there's food at the
100%.
crib, like stretch out, like make your money like stretch longer, because there's a lot of impulses that I just never really had to address
Yeah.
until now, where it's like, dude, the clock's really ticking. Where it's not so much that time's running out, but it's like the longer I wait to accomplish these big ambitions, it's there's just gonna be so much more that's needed to get put into it.
Yeah.
So like, put a little now, put a little bit. You know what I
100%.
mean? Do those steps now instead of trying to hit a home run later.
Just invest every single day.
And that's where like it really hits home when you say to celebrate every small win, but it translates to me as in like really seek that 1% improvement every day.
Yeah.
Like really look for it, and then you'll just by the time you go a week later, you're at least 7% better.
Yeah.
Instead of, like I
Instead
said,
of getting
instead
worse.
of waiting for like a fucking home run every time, dude.
Yeah.
So
And again, that's the thing. I feel like people are consistently just waiting for that home run, but you have to invest every single day, right? You have to make those continuous small deposits.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, like, having an athletic background, man, it's something I love having, and I love that my kids are going to grow up with that as well, because I feel like there's so many qualities installed in you as a young athlete that kind of just stick with you, right? So I mean, just being able to work hard,
That accountability, man.
being accountable, but also being able to accept failure. That's one thing that people can't do, man.
Oh, yeah.
People cannot accept failure and see it for what it is. Like, failure is an opportunity to get better, right? That's nothing more than that.
That
Failure,
redemption story.
exactly. Like, hey, maybe you weren't able to succeed at this time, but you learn from it and you continue going. It doesn't mean, hey, I fail, I'm done. Like, I'm gonna stop.
That's one of the biggest things, like, I attribute to us still being around is, like, it's just a matter of the fact that, like, we just kept putting out another episode.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, I think a lot of other platforms similar to us
Yeah.
fall off or just completely, like, lose all the quality or whatever is because of just, like, I don't know, like, expectations. And when they're not met, it's like, oh, okay, like, that's it.
Like,
It's
yeah.
like, well, hold on, dude, like, refine it. Like, you're too in your own head thinking there's nothing wrong, you couldn't have done any better, that you're ignoring any room. Like you said, I love that you're using the word opportunities, dude.
Yeah.
I've been saying that word a lot. It's been like getting more and more in my vocabulary to where it's like opportunities, dude.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, oh, dude, I'm not good, it's like, no, it's an opportunity where you can improve and shit. And it's just like that reframing that mindset, dude. It sounds
all
corny.
mindset, bro.
It sounds corny, and it also sounds like vague. Like, oh, how do you do that? But it really is like just changing the vocabulary of a lot of different things
Yeah.
that are originally negative, and then just reframing it into that positive mindset. Like, that opportunity one's the biggest one. Just because, like, not having enough of something or not being good enough to do something is like a common thing that was like going on throughout like my
Yeah.
early to mid 20s, where, and like that's just like making an excuse for yourself to not go get it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, nah, bro.
And I think, like, to that point, and I'm sure anyone you bring on the podcast would agree, man. Like, depending on how you, I mean, no matter how you define success, I mean, there's a few things you got to do to reach that success, right? So you have to be consistent. I mean, every single day you have to be consistent. You have to work hard. If you're working hard, and then just holding yourself accountable, man. I think if you're doing those things, no matter how you define success, you will be successful. I'm not saying I'm the most successful guy in the world, right? But these are some of the things that I do to make sure that, again, I'm able to provide for my family and continue to grow in my career. You know, so I think those things are huge. And I mean, the whole positive affirmations. The whole positive affirmations piece, like, that's something I do with the kids every single day, right? Like,
nice.
before we leave to school, part of our morning routine, we'll look ourselves in the mirror. For kids, obviously, it's a little bit more TikTok-y, more basic, but hey, I am great. I am capable. I can do anything. Get them to believe that stuff, man, because in a world full of can't,
oh yeah,
people have to believe they can, man. So stuff like that goes a long way, bro.
yeah. And they have too much. We all have too much access to, like, just too many opinions floating around now. You know,
Yeah.
like, there's just so many ways for them to hear just all the, like, other stuff too. So
Yeah.
it's really important. I'm sure you have already laser focused on that, because like back then, just when we were kids, like, we didn't have as much access to like the world,
way
you know.
different. Yeah.
So now it's just like, oh, there's a lot of people that, you know, like I said, when we were kids, it'd be no problem, you know. It's all right, like, that guy's opinion, those guys' words, or whatever they say in videos will never, like, they can't get to them.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, oh my god, I gotta watch out with this digital world that, like,
100%,
can
man.
really influence
100%.
my kids.
And it's a beautiful place. Like, the creative space that we all live in it's beautiful, but you do have to monitor it, especially when you have kids,
Yeah,
right? Because there's so many different messages out there.
I wanted to ask, because we kind of did talk about it with, like, how much do you feel like, or how long you'll be waiting until you start, like, putting some screens in front of your
Yeah.
kids' faces? Obviously, out of necessity, you know, like, once they need to give you calls and shit,
Uh-huh.
you know what I mean? But, like, man, are you ever conscious or worried about, like, how attention spans are just like,
They're slipping.
like, yes, dude,
Yeah.
they're going crazy.
Even
Like,
my attention
do you ever,
span, that's
yeah,
crazy,
like, do you
man.
ever try to practice any sort of, like, attention things with your kids? Like, not like deliberate, but
Yeah.
do you ever try to, like, have them just kind of sit through certain things?
So,
Sports, for instance,
a
like,
lot-
we've already
a lot of
talked
things,
about it,
even
but
simple,
you
like
have them
when-
read books and shit.
So every single night we're reading books as part of our bedtime
okay, cool.
routine. We're doing lots of arts and crafts throughout the day, but we're letting our kids fail, man. When they fail, like, for example, my son today, he was building a dog house out of a cardboard box, and he was writing my dog's name on it, and he couldn't get the Z down, bro. So had a meltdown. Didn't want to do it anymore, but I'm letting him fail, but I'm not letting him quit. So hey, take all the time you need, collect yourself, and you're gonna go back and write that Z. So he learns how to fail, but he knows how to come back from that. I think stuff like that.
Oh, he's gonna be
that's,
lapping
That's
his
crucial,
students,
bro.
dude.
That's
He's gonna
that's
be
crucial.
lapping them, dude.
And I mean, yeah, I think little things like that. As far as screen time goes, like I have no issue with screen time. Yeah, we let our kids watch TV, spend some time on iPads, but it's always monitored because, like we said, there's a lot of crazy things out there.
Yeah.
And one little thing we do is we make them sit through commercials, bro. Like everyone's so quick to just, well, obviously monitoring the commercials too, because commercials could be another thing, but letting your kids sit through commercials is gonna help them build that patience because they're so used to this go 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 world where hey, there's a commercial in 5 seconds I could skip it. No, let them sit through commercials. Let them build their patience. Let your kids fail. Do things outside of the screen. Take some
Oh,
time.
dude,
Sit with
because
your kids, bro. Just take some time to sit with your kids. Be present with your kids, and that I mean that time is invaluable.
I'm thinking about how that translates to like being an adult. You know, like
Yeah.
what's gonna happen when. Hopefully, it never happens. But like, what it's gonna happen when you're just waiting on like 20 applications you just put in,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean, like you got to be able to trust processes and
100%.
like you said, like fail and everything like that. That's good that you're teaching those values now, man. That's gonna be crazy when like they get older. Not when they get old. I don't know, maybe I'm sounding like an old head and maybe everyone ends up finding out like this, but oh man, I just feel like just kids now just their attention spans are rotten, dude.
Yeah,
It's
man.
insane, bro.
It's
there's,
tough.
there's videos of kids just swiping through TikTok while they're playing like Minecraft and
Yeah.
shit, dude. And it's scary, bro.
Multitasking on
But
another level, man. But I think it's not just kids. To your point, like I think it's everyone these days. Like attention spans are just shrinking and shrinking. It's just due to this fast-paced world we live in. If something's not convenient, then we're done with it. You know, if something breaks, we're done with it. Like we don't take the time to fix things anymore,
yeah, hey,
or things like that.
let's step away from like kids for a quick second. Just talk about like our peers for a sec.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel sometimes when you're in any social circles and you kind of see some stuff where it's like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
it's so just so frustrating to see people doing stuff, choosing to go certain ways. Like,
Yeah. So for me, that's something that I mean, since I have had a family, that's something that I tend not to invest too much time in. Again, if it's not affecting my family, it's not affecting my personal
yeah,
growth. If it's not something that benefits that, then I'm not spending too much time on that. I mean, love my friends, love a lot of peers that we associate with, but if they're not aligned with the things that I'm doing, I wish them the best. But that's not where I'm investing a lot of my time, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
100%. And those aren't always easy
Oh,
conversations either.
yeah,
Not everyone takes it the right way.
they're tough, man. I mean, I've had the same group of like childhood friends since elementary school, you know, and we're boys, and I mean, I'll always be there for them, but we're not always aligned on things, you know, and that's, I mean, they're growing in certain things, I'm growing in a different area of my life, so having those conversations, stepping back at times from certain folks, I think you have to do that for your own prosperity, and your own growth throughout
Yeah.
life, right? I think one of the biggest things we don't know growing up is, hey, these people that you grew up with aren't always gonna. I mean, they're not gonna be a part of your life forever, right? So you try to cherish those relationships, try to hold on to those beneficial relationships. But if there's a relationship that's dragging you down, you have to be able to let that go.
Yeah. Hey, when you found out that you were gonna have your first child,
Yeah,
was it something that you guys were aiming for, or was it a surprise at
it was a
first?
surprise.
Yeah.
I told the doctor, "Fuck you." Bro. So we did the whole like so. We recently had again. We both just started our careers. Decided that when we got in a place financially where we were, I mean, doing really well, we wanted to take a trip to Hawaii. So took a trip to Hawaii. During that trip, did a lot of great things, and one of those things we did is skydiving. So went skydiving. My wife threw up all over the skydiving instructor. Probably gonna hate me for telling this story, but threw up all over the skydiving instructor
Too late.
and said she's just not feeling well. So didn't pay too much mind to it. Just thought it was
Oh
nerves and
shit.
jitters. Get back home, take a pregnancy test, and she's pregnant. So we get that. We're like, hey, you know what? We don't know how much. I mean, we're new to this, right? So we don't know how we could trust these tests. So go to a doctor. Doctor walks in and says, "Hey, congratulations, you're pregnant." I'm just like, "Fuck you, bro." So definitely not something we planned for, but probably one of the best things that's ever happened
Yeah.
to
Would
us.
you say that that was just a complete character shift? Not
Oh,
character shift, but like just like
Paradigm shift?
yeah,
oh,
like just
100%. I love the way you phrase that. I think because
goals
when
changed, purpose changed,
once you have a
purpose was
kid,
found.
I think
That's better wording.
before you have a kid, you're selfish, right? You're only focused on your own individual. And of course, if you're in a relationship and the growth of that relationship and the growth of yourself individually, the second that you find out you're having a kid, everything shifts, right? You automatically start thinking, what can I do to give my kid the best possible life that they could have? What can I do to put them in a position to succeed? What can I do to give them the things that I never had? All those things, man. So I think having a kid for anyone is a growth experience because you understand that, hey, it's not just about me anymore. I have someone that looks up to me, someone that counts on me to provide for them. So yeah, definitely. I mean, biggest blessing having my
Yeah.
kids, man, is the biggest blessing. And not to say I was headed down the wrong path, right? I was headed down.
Yeah, for sure.
I was headed down a good path, but so much came from having kids, and
Who knows what got? Who knows what could have been prevented? Like as
Oh,
you said, like you were
yeah.
over, you were kind of just letting
Yeah.
loose and stuff. So
Yeah.
maybe it did prevent like just a little bit more meat on the
A
bones.
little more stuff. Yeah. It was, but man, having kids is just it's beautiful.
That's good, man. I'm glad that you're having success as a father and,
Thank you,
and as a
man.
professional too.
Thank you.
How do you manage to still retain your personal goals?
Yeah.
While being a father too, you know what I mean? Like, how is your mindset still not lost sight of what you want to accomplish that
Yeah.
may have at least slowed down in pace
Uh-huh.
because of having children? Like,
So it's just having conversations with myself. So every now and then I'd say it's not something that like I have on my calendar, right? But every now and then I do self check-ins and talk to myself and make sure that the goals that I have in line aren't just with what I want to do with my kids, that it's something that I'm having that personal professional growth with as well. So writing down some of the things I want to accomplish this year. Hey, have I been able to accomplish those? Am I in line to accomplish those? Writing down when I want to get that next promotion. Am I in line? Am I doing things to get me to that next step? Right. So, just being able to have open dialogue with yourself, and again hold yourself accountable. Those are some of the things that I do to do that.
yeah, like just constantly talking about it
Constant, man.
instead of just like, I don't know, having goals and tucking them away in the back of your mind.
It's great. It's great to have goals, right?
That's
But
crazy.
You have
We-
to put those into motion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were talking about it with Jordan too. With Jordan Zamudio, he said, we just like the goals are there, and honestly, like they also have to be well intended goals too, because
Yeah.
at some point, if they're malintended,
Yeah.
whatever it is that's motivating you to take that motion, it's gonna eventually fizzle out, and the wrong type of goals aren't sustainable.
Yeah.
Like eventually, you're gonna lose sight of them, and then you're not gonna appreciate the journey that goes along the way.
100%. And I love that you mentioned that because not too many people, and myself included, right? People don't appreciate the journey. Like everyone.
Hey, yeah, I want to say really quick, it's really good that you're very appreciative of your career so far, because I
Yeah.
do think that there's a lot of people who have these sorts of positions that just kind of climb the through the company's ladder,
Yeah.
and they just lose sight of like the magic of it and
Oh,
like the
never.
development behind it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just becomes like the motion.
Yeah.
You know what
Every single step of my career so far, like I've learned and gained from that experience, and I take that on to my next role, right? So extremely conscious of the past career I've had, what I've been able to pull from it, and I know the skills that I've been able to develop that are going to lead me to that next role as well. So yeah, I agree there.
if this position was feeding you well, paying you well,
Yeah.
and it was accomplishing what it needed to in regards to helping you provide for your family, but
Yeah.
it wasn't providing you internal happiness, would you box it into those things that aren't pushing you forward? You know how you said it's,
That's a great question.
yeah, I want,
Um,
like would you sacrifice some of that like personal and professional development that like happiness that comes from that
yeah.
if it was like still feeding you just super
I
good?
I personally would. So my current role's amazing. So
Yeah.
like I said, I get to work with new leaders, again, fresh kids straight out of college, ready to learn, eager to be the best that they can be. Like I thrive in that environment because everyone has that energy level that I talk about. Let's say let's say like my next role is a role that I'm not extremely passionate about, but I mean,
What if your next role was just working with a bunch of disgruntled managers? All it is bad energy, bro.
I would I think I'd be able to sacrifice a little bit, just knowing that it is just a stop along the journey.
Okay.
So I think that's some of the best advice I've gotten recently. Work with a lot of different folks, obviously, and one of those pieces of advice was, hey, you're not gonna love every single role you're in, but you have to be able to pull from that role what you can, and then be ready to move on from it. So, hey, am I gonna love every role along the way? No, I'm not going to. Am I gonna love any role as much as I love this one? Probably not. But I do understand that I want to continue to grow. So that's a great question. Yeah, definitely willing to sacrifice if it means that I'm able to provide better for my family, put my kids and my wife in a better situation, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, I feel that. And I mean, at the end of the day, you could also just be one of those like psychotic dudes who's like, no, I'm gonna turn this shit around.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean? You could
I
look
could
at
cha- I
any
could change
single
her.
thing. Yeah, you
Yeah.
could look at any single thing as just like a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good way to put it. For the folks, they'll understand that one better.
Mm-hmm.
I could change her. I could fix him.
Hey man, I mean, in life you're gonna. Sorry, let me get closer. In life, you're gonna face different challenges, right? And it all depends.
Yeah, you
Again,
can't avoid them all.
speak to a lot of people in my role. And another piece of advice is that I've been putting into play is whenever I deal with adversity or whenever I deal with challenges, I choose a spirit of faith over fear. So instead of going down the path of, and they both require the same energy, right? I could be scared of something, or I could believe in myself, believe in my abilities, and understand that, hey, I'm going to approach this next role. I'm going to approach this opportunity with faith and believe in myself rather than being scared of what's next.
Oh yeah, I've been on that wave lately, man. Just where like everything's gonna find like. Have you seen Dune?
Oh, yeah, I want pieces of it, not the whole thing.
Oh man, there's the whole concept about like finding the narrow path. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, you see the narrow way through on how to get where you're gonna go.
Yeah,
And I feel like we're finding that right now, dude.
yeah,
It's really good.
and I love that,
But it's
man.
come through just like having to take on every challenge and
Yeah.
not turning away from any single one of them.
Yeah.
So
And again, we talked about it before, but I mean, I love the things you guys are doing because there's a lot of different paths that you guys are on, and you guys are putting your best foot forward on all of them, right? Just trying to stay as consistent as possible from the podcast, midnight sessions. I mean, a lot of different avenues that you're touching, and just staying consistent with those, man. So shout out to you guys for that.
hell yeah.
Thanks.
Do you ever have any
You're welcome, David.
Do you ever have any goals of still with Pepsi, but just exploring the other brands, or just maybe even being like part of the Pepsi thing that kind of
Yeah.
oversees all of them?
Yeah, so-
does any part of like the upper Pepsi part, like, is there anybody who has a position where they kind of have to like manage a little bit of each brand?
There's not one position that deals with different brands, but I do know, again, if I want to keep climbing that corporate ladder, then I am going to eventually have to spend some time understanding different parts of the business. So whether that's the operation side of the business, which I definitely want to make sure that I understand
Oh,
more,
dude,
'cause
you're
there's-
gonna love that.
there's
That's all
so
about
much that goes-
efficiency, bro.
I hated operations class in college.
OSCM,
You remember that?
baby.
Oh my God,
OSCM,
bro.
man.
Hated that class, but I mean, there's a lot of different parts that go into. I mean, from plant to shelf, right? Like a lot of different things that go into different products. So understanding the operations side of the business, Quaker is something that has obviously always been a big brand, but recently it's taken off. So understanding our
How
Quaker
so?
business, it's just something that we're investing a lot more resources into lately.
That's
So
crazy that you say it in a way like as if it's barely taking off. Like that's one of the oldest food
Yeah,
brands
oh,
I think I've ever known
it's
of.
it's one of those classic brands, right? But compared to like Frito-Lay, like even Pepsi, like every single year we're investing into innovation and building up different brands. Not necessarily the case always with Quaker. So now taking that investment and putting it into Quaker to help grow that as well. So possibly jumping onto that side of the business, even jumping over with Pepsi and doing some work with them. So eventually that's the
You like Pepsi?
I do love Pepsi, bro. All I drink is Pepsi. I'll let
All I
diet,
drink
please.
is Pepsi.
Diet, please. But yeah, man. I know there's. Again, I love this company because there's so many different directions I could take the next 23 years, and I mean, it just works out with my family life as well. Kids are still young. Wife is a nurse, so she could work anywhere we go. So it's great, man.
I feel like it's cool to be able to work with a big brand like that because, in all honesty, not every company, not every local, not every
Yeah.
regional, whatever makes it like to that level. So you get to see branding and like sit and all that on like the biggest level.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Every single part of the business is
Big dog shit.
strategic. Like you walk into a store, and again, something I never did prior to this role. You walk into a store and every single space in that store is scripted, right? There's a purpose for that. There's a reason why we have chips so close to the register because we're trying to capture that consumer that's waiting in the long line, right?
Hey, how does that work? Yeah, are you talking deals with like this, like the Walmart managers on where to place your chips and everything?
So
And
different
all the products.
Yeah, so different positions are as a district manager. Primarily, your role is to make sure it's executed and sell in like +1, +2. Different positions do have those conversations, and strategically map out every area of the store and all that. Like every space in the store is contracted, so
Oh, so
That's
you
what-
guys are paying for like register space.
paying for that space. Yeah. So that's
shit.
where the district manager comes in and make sure that is being executed. Execute +1, and again, just training your team to make sure that they're selling as well.
And is it like once it gets to Walmart, for example?
Yeah.
Let's just like use that as one example, but like, a Frito Lay, I guess shelf stocker is the one who's shelving it, or is it a Walmart
Correct.
employee doing
Correct.
it?
So that's one thing about Frito-Lay is we're direct to store. So not only do we sell the product, but we also merchandise the product as well, which is one of the things that makes us stand out compared to other competitors.
Are you training those people that are like shelving this shit, or are these like
I train those
those
people.
dudes
Yeah,
too?
so those are the route sales representatives that I mentioned earlier. So I
They come
play
in
a
with a
small
truck, they pull up in a
part.
truck, or
Yeah,
what?
pull up in a truck. Some of them go in their own vehicles, just depending on the format that they're in.
Oh shit.
But yeah, I do I'm a part of the beginning stages of their career. Obviously, after they're done, they spend a week with me, and then they go spend some time with the trainer and get that in-field work. But yes, I train those folks as well. And again, part of the training process as a manager is you have to do that so you can understand everything that goes into it. So
Would you say like a Walmart is like the biggest type of client, or is there something that we might not be thinking about, like an airport or some shit?
no, yeah,
You know what I mean?
Walmart's like your Walmarts, Sam's Clubs,
Hell yeah.
Albertsons, all those are like the larger stores.
The biggest customers that you guys have.
100%. Like so, we have like we call them C stores. So we have C stores that do like $2,000 to $4,000 weekly. Compared to a Walmart, you have some Walmarts that do 50 grand weekly. You know, so
And what does the smallest customer look like? Is
so
it like a dude with a vending machine?
smaller cuts. So vending, that is a different part of the business. Like vending, it's completely it's under its own little umbrella. But there is like we service mom and pop. So anything over $200, we're willing to service. And then outside of that, there's options for customers that are kind of just getting started and still want to pick up the business. We have options for them as well that don't necessarily.
You give them like catalogs?
Correct. Yeah. So
shit.
we have a catalog. It's called Snacks to You. It's a part of our business that delivers to any customer that doesn't meet our threshold.
Okay.
And I mean, the product's dropped off at their front door. They do have to merchandise it compared to like if you're over $200, we'll do the merchandising. But it's crazy, man. So it's a huge business, man.
Yeah,
Chips.
dude. Yeah, chips.
Chips, man.
Hey man, what about the crazy exotic shit that comes from like Japan and all that? Do you get your hands on some of those things?
Not often. So usually we get to try different innovation prior to it hitting the market. So that's great. Like all the crazy new flavors before they even come out.
Shit
But
that
like
doesn't even come out.
Most well, it depends. So like if you're taking a trip down to headquarters, you get to try all the funky flavors like when they're still in testing, which is crazy. All the funky stuff from like different countries we don't get to try out too much. So
Okay.
that'd be pretty dope though. I've tried
Are they pretty much the same company, or are they almost like so different that it's practically independent?
same company, but like you said, it is so different. It still falls under that umbrella, still under the PepsiCo name, but completely different. Customer
different
base,
operation,
completely different
yeah.
plan, completely different operation.
Yeah.
I tried I think it was a roasted garlic and oyster lay or something. That was fire though. Slap some hot sauce on that bad boy.
Have all the travel that you've done so far been within the country, or have you gotten to go out
No,
of the country?
it's been within the country. I know there is opportunities to go overseas. I just hadn't taken. There was an opportunity a few years back to go become a district manager in Hawaii, which would have been dope. I didn't take that opportunity at the time, but yeah, most of my traveling's within my market, if not within my market, within my region.
Man, getting to go to like Japan or something.
That'd be
just,
dope, huh?
Go to a Frito-Lay conference.
You know, I do like outside of work. I do want to start traveling more because I've done a lot of travel in the United States, but never anything internationally. So, would love to go to Europe one day. I think we're planning that for sometime next year. So, might have to hit up Grizel.
Were you guys waiting for your kids to get a little bit older too? Like, did you guys put some of those big ones, those big vacations on pause so that they could enjoy it or something?
Yeah. So if we were to take the trip to Italy, probably wouldn't take the kids on that one until they're older and able to like fully not respect.
Yeah, eat a whole
fully
cannoli.
appreciate. Yeah, fully appreciate that experience, right? But man, like I told myself I wasn't gonna become the Disney dad, bro. But we've gone to Disney 4 years in a row, bro. Every single year, different experiences, and the kids love it, bro. So looking to change that up and shake it up next year.
No more churros.
No, man. Oh, I love those. I might go grab one right now, but
Turkey leg.
I've never had the turkey leg at Disney, bro.
I've never been to Disney.
You gotta go.
Have
Hey,
you been to Disney?
Yeah.
Oh,
next year you can roll with me and the fam. I got you.
shit. What? Let's go. Give me the mirrors.
Yeah, man, but it's a good time. But I mean, realistically, bro, that's what my life entails. Like spending time with the family, trying to develop myself personally, whether that's from a fitness level, I'm trying to strengthen my mind, or just working professionally.
Hey, you know how we were saying about celebrating your small wins?
Yeah.
We kind of said it also in the sense of, well, do you also agree of like, obviously pacing yourself, don't burn out and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So how do you still find time to stay tapped into everything that you enjoy, just like that doesn't push you forward, you know? Like there's still got to be time for it. Like you said, your kids still enjoy movies and all that stuff. So how do you still stay tapped in with like music,
Yeah.
sports?
It's little things for me, bro. It's like you know me.
Are these your little things?
Those
These
are little things for me. So, music, sports, fantasy football, stuff like that, bro. Like those.
Sometimes when we get to this age, dude, some people like will start saying stuff that sounds like nonsense to me. They'll be like, "Oh, dude, I don't even remember the last time I listened to music or some shit like that." I've heard people say some ridiculous things where it's like, damn, dude, you've had to give up things that you really like that much.
Yeah, but I think we have a different appreciation for music, right? Because like we have a background, bro. I started writing music when I was in 5th grade, so like I appreciate music. It's something I've always been passionate for. Although I don't write anymore, I mean it's something I'm still very passionate about. Very passionate about sports, watching sports, being a part of sports. Recently picked up reading. I want to get more into reading again, just to help strengthen my mind.
What are you liking? What do you like to read? What's been getting you into it?
I started reading. I recently picked up The Alchemist. I don't know if you ever read that. Yeah. So I'm like halfway through that book, but it's just something I want to do. Like whenever I have some downtime, whenever I have downtime, I'm either going to the gym or hopping on the treadmill or watching something on Netflix. I'm like, hey, what else can I do? So reading's been one of those things, and I've enjoyed it so far. I've never been a big reader, so picking that up has been something I've liked doing.
Oh, man, I've tried plenty of times. I have a lot of books.
Yeah.
I have good recommend. You should get Atomic Habits, dude.
I have it actually.
Oh my
God! It was gifted to me. As an
Such a
adult, I
great
feel like
book, dude.
one of the best things you could give an adult as a gift is a book, man. Like,
Yeah, especially if you've read it, because
Yeah.
then it feels more like a genuine recommendation.
100%. I want that used, beat up book, with all the notes in it.
Oh, I've gifted it twice so far, man, and I'm like, I just gave you knowledge.
Yeah.
Dude. It's because those books are tricky for me, man. Like I think they're really good, but a lot of the time the value is just stuff like if you don't get it, you're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
But because it's so vague and it's very like based on like just principles of life.
Yeah.
Atomic Habits is cool in the sense that like it really does give you actionable things to start just applying to your day to day.
Yeah, I need to read it,
Even
man.
gives you like worksheets that you can do to track your habits and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is like tangible.
Okay.
Like I can hold this. I can apply this.
And I think that's what people need, that tangible factor.
Yeah.
To let them know what direction to go. Because like you said, like you could read a book, you could read it from start to finish and have no idea like what to do next, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think just like when you're reading a book, you have to take the time to break it down,
Yeah.
like pause every now and then and say, okay, what did I just read?
If I'm right, I think The Alchemist is all about the power of just like manifesting what it is that you're trying to do. I think that's what the book is.
Pretty much in line. Again, I'm only halfway through, so I can't give you a full breakdown. But
Have it, dude. You're gonna make me want to read it.
He's a shepherd, and I mean, he's pretty much just trying to manifest a better life for himself. Also, I believe he's trying to manifest like a lost love or something like that. So, yeah, I'm gonna go home and read it right now. Actually, after this. So,
Hell yeah, man.
I mean, just doing things to continue to grow, man. And again, like you said, hey, every second of every day, we're not going to be growing, right? We have to find that downtime, but just find.
But if you're spending every day, every second not growing,
Yeah.
then now you're scrapping
that's a
for all
problem.
that time instead of
100%.
being able to just enjoy the few scraps of whatever you want.
little wins, man. Celebrate the little wins, folks. Like that's all it is. It's life, man. Life's hard
I
enough.
know you saw Saquon.
Life, man. Don't get me started, bro.
I know you saw him drop 3 TDs.
So I was just talking about today. We didn't want to give Saquon like a $40 million contract.
Celebrate
and
the wins.
He's a receiver / running back, but like people are paying receivers like $35 million a year. Yeah, that's a win we should have celebrated.
Yeah, you did. They didn't celebrate their wins. Nah,
That's
I
so
mean that's
good.
what I just decided to like bring it up because it's like football season's back. You're gonna be able to like just chill, watch a little bit of that, and
Yeah.
that's cool, man. Because like honestly, I'm not a parent, but just having like that busyness of the career and everything, you can lose sight of what matters.
Yeah.
But I was about to say, as you were talking about it, being so having so much experience yourself within music and in sports, you know the values that come out of those two things. And in movies, I'm sure, and like TV or whatever else you indulge in, you see the values that come out of it. And so it's not really like you're just indulging in nonsense. It's like you're almost, it's like this is for lack of a less dramatic word. It's like religion almost. It's like I'm reminding myself of principles, and I'm just watching like greatness again.
Yeah, 100%. And
Maybe you don't look at it like that
No,
when
I
you're in
know.
the middle of a game.
No, I do.
But that's how I
especially-
was like with the Olympics. Like I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, dude, I'm getting this.
And there's a lot of stuff again that there's a lot of life lessons that you can learn from just watching sports or playing sports. And that's why I'm big on the kids are getting to the point now where they're liking to watch them, not just play them. So it's cool just to sit back and
It's no longer mindless entertainment.
no, but like they're learning, they're questioning what's going on, they're finding out why different guys are doing this. They're asking why LeBron doesn't play for every team in the WMA. Huge LeBron fans, bro. Kids are huge LeBron fans.
Dude, you know what's weird? I know it sounds funny, but like sports got me so good at like quick mental math in a way.
Yeah.
Like I'm so good at coming up with like averages because I'm always thinking
Yeah.
of points per game, rebounds per game,
Yeah.
win-loss records. Like statistics is one of those things that I completely attribute all of my normal knowledge
to
to.
sports?
Dude, I'm a nerd with stats, but I'm also not an advanced stats like loser. I like to also watch the game
Sure,
and like
yeah.
see what's going on, dude. You know,
Yeah.
there's stat watchers,
bro,
but then there's
I'm
people
a-
who just enjoy the game. Like, oh, that boy nice.
I'm both. I'm stat watching like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
bro. Like,
dude.
especially with like fantasy sports again, like a
Oh
guilty
my
pleasure of mine,
gosh,
bro.
dude.
I'm counting everything. Like that boy just got a catch. West 1 point.
Yeah,
That's a
this guy
reception.
just finished up his draft, and it was funny too. It was-
You
Who's
got a
your
good- you got a
quarterback?
good team. My quarterback is most of my leagues Jalen Hurts, but I did have Jordan Love just go down.
Oh, dude, his knee.
Yeah, so hopefully they said he should be out like 3 or 4 weeks, right? So
All right.
fantasy sports, man. It's
Yeah,
fun.
I'm not deep into the point where like I join leagues with money.
Yeah.
No, I joined the for free ones.
Yeah. Who's your quarterback, by the way?
Dak.
Okay, of course.
Yeah, well, he's probably gonna give me some points.
Yeah, good pick.
I don't have a team. I don't have a league this year. It is
Who's
what it is.
You're a Spurs fan, right?
When it comes to basketball, dude, diehard Spurs fan.
Yeah.
Wemby,
What do
bro.
you think about Wemby being
I-
robbed for Defensive Player of the Year?
Oh, he completely got robbed, but it's all right. They're, you know, it is what it is. But I just told my dad, I was like, this has to be what you guys felt like when Tim Duncan got
Oh,
drafted.
bro.
Like, dude, he just turned the franchise around like
Dude, it's
crazy,
instant,
man.
Instant. I mean, record doesn't reflect, right? But it's gonna continue to get better.
Yeah, they're gonna build around him, and it's gonna be so sick. I just feel so happy to like be just a fan of something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's cool just to like be able to. Dude, it's crazy. Like I couldn't have said it any better like that. Like I was like, this has to be like what my dad felt like in '97 or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, oh my gosh, like this guy's great. Like he's just exciting to
Yeah,
watch.
bro,
He's
he's-
cool as fuck to watch.
Yeah, man.
He's got aura.
I want to go. I
It
want to
ain't even swag, though, it's aura.
I need to go to the Spurs.
He's
I just-
Louis
I just-
Vuitton's like ambassador with
He's
like,
like- yeah.
dude, yeah. You saw a picture of him with
Yeah.
the suitcases?
Bro, he's
Oh, dude, that shit's fire.
like, I mean, power of sports, bro. Like,
Oh, dude, it's culture.
yeah.
It's not even just
And
sports
that's
no more.
that's
it's
a great way
culture.
to, and a lot of people don't see it like that.
Lifestyle.
Like, especially basketball, bro. There's
Lifestyle.
so much culture in basketball. Like so many greats. I mean, we're watching we watched greats play as we grew up and didn't even realize it, right? And now those greats are starting to get towards the end of their careers, and we're starting to realize, shit, these
Yeah,
guys
dude. In the blink of an eye, Curry's old as
are,
fuck.
jeez,
you know
man,
what I mean?
still lethal.
Like, cause he still seems so young when he won his first chip.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really feel that long ago. Like the Warriors dynasty doesn't really feel like it's been that far removed.
But it was, right? Like,
Especially because they just won a ring in 22.
yeah,
So that's why it feels so new still.
it's insane, man.
But you see how we could just dive into that, man? That's crazy, yeah. So many narratives and all that. It's bigger than just like sports now. Like
Yeah.
it's cool. They've crafted such I don't know. It's cool. Like
yeah, and athletes are so much more than just athletes these days, bro. Like the whole like shut up
Oh,
and
yeah.
dribble thing. You remember that?
yeah.
Um,
Dude,
but-
a lot of the Olympians, like some of them are one of them that just went back to back. I think she won 3 gold medals. Gabby Thomas.
yeah,
She's like some crazy figure within the STEM field as well, dude. It's kind of insane
know
like,
that,
what she's
yeah.
doing. So, I mean, beyond just like the political activist sort of avenue,
Yeah.
there's like some crazy shit that some of these people are doing.
you got to be a well versed human being, right? Like you can't just stay.
Yeah,
Can't just
LeBron
stay in one
recently
lane,
just
man.
said, if all I'm known for when I'm 100 years old is my basketball career, then I failed, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's true. But that also kind of like hurts a little bit harder when you think about like early passings like a Kobe or something, because you're like, fuck. He was
Imagine.
about to get into the film space like
Yeah.
crazy.
And he
And
win an
he was
Emmy or
about
an
to,
Oscar
he
or
was about to, yeah, he just won an Oscar and all that. And then he was about to do great things for like women's basketball. Oh, he would have fast forwarded a lot of what's going on right now.
Oh, I agree.
That would have just fast tracked with his support.
That's insane. Like all the great things going on with women's basketball specifically right now, bro. Like there's so many great storylines. Like I catch myself watching WNBA games. I'm hyped, bro. Like
Yeah.
Kaylin Clark is. I mean, there's so many great players, but just Kaylin.
Oh no,
Clark,
man!
watching her
I
play,
that shit annoys me though that they're trying to make a debate of Rookie of the Year.
It's not.
Get
it's not
out of
even
here,
close,
dude!
bro.
What are you even
I
talking
mean,
about?
There's,
That's unethical hoops by Angel Reese. I hate watching it.
and I think that's what it is, bro.
Oh,
Is
dude, it's
there's
whack.
there always has to be a storyline. So if there's not a storyline, they're gonna make one. Like it shouldn't even be a competition, but it's gonna be.
Man, but yeah, dude, like that's what goes through my mind sometimes. Is like sometimes I'll just be thinking of those storylines and it
Yeah.
hypes me up throughout my
Yeah.
days, dude.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes when I'm at the gym or when I'm just doing mundane shit like at work, not that it's mundane, but it's like it could be easily, you could easily lose yourself and you could lose motivation and like
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I feel like I'm just so tapped into like what drives me, dude.
Yeah. And again, I
I-
think that's what makes people great, like being able to find motivation in the smallest of things.
That's crazy
But
though.
also understanding that motivation isn't the only thing, right? You're not always going to be motivated. You have to be dedicated, bro.
There has yes. Oh, okay, so then would you say that beyond motivation, there has to be purpose?
It has to be purpose. There has to
That
be
that
discipline, bro. 'Cause if-
purpose withstands motivation. It's there no matter what.
motivation's great, man. It's great to be motivated, but you're not always going to feel that way. You're not going to wake up every day and want to go to the gym or go to work or take care of the things you have to take care of. But if you're disciplined, if you find purpose in what you're doing, then you'll be able to conquer that
dude.
day.
That's a good way to put it. It ain't about the motivation. It's about finding that purpose.
Yeah.
Because that's really like what's like the essence of it. Motivation's all external factors, sometimes
100%.
internal, but like you're right, it does have like it's not a what's the word unlimited.
Yeah.
There's a supply to it, and it runs out. Money runs out. You know, all that other shit. Yeah, dude. I said they clipped me a couple like today on this podcast. I was a guest of A-Town Top, episode 30, baby. Shout out A-Town. But they said they quoted me and I forgot that I had said it, but I always do say it. I think every human being's purpose in life is to contribute to the extension of our species.
Ooh, I love that.
So even to the smallest degree, you got to be contributing to like making sure that humanity can last another day.
Yeah.
And so even if you're a painter, dude, like you might be the guy who painted something that inspired this doctor who like lived a little bit longer because he saw that painting.
Yeah.
And because he lived a little longer, maybe he solves cancer. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
don't
no, I
know
get that
what
100%.
contribution you can make so long as you're making that effort. And that's purpose right there.
Yeah.
So that on those days where you're not motivated, it's like, okay, but like there's something way bigger than me
Yeah.
that like I have to work towards.
Damn, you said that on a podcast today?
No, I said it a couple
Okay.
weeks back.
That's deep, man. That's
Yeah,
good.
they just barely clipped it and reminded me
Okay.
that I had said it.
Yeah.
But it makes so much sense when it comes to talking about how you fight off those days where you don't want to do it, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, you just gotta have like that thing that like at the end of the life, or if life gets cut short for you, you could still look back and be like, okay, like I was always driving towards that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
I agree. That's good, man.
Cano,
That's good.
the boy. Dude, I know that you're not necessarily showing off your work or anything on the gram all the time, but
Yeah.
if you want to plug anything, where could people find you, dude? Where could people keep up with you?
Probably Instagram is the thing I'm the most,
Yeah.
most steady on. At Christopher Yo, follow me. One of my goals recently is to become a lot more active on Instagram, social media, because that's something I've always been passionate about, but kind of one of those passions that fell by the wayside. So, yeah, definitely something I'm gonna get more active on.
Fuck yeah, dude, my boy, dog. Hey, dog, that's what we do over here. Thank you so much,
Thank
Chris.
you,
Thank you for
David.
being here,
Thank
man.
you.
It was
for making the
really great
time.
to talk to you and just like dive into the things we don't always get to talk about,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
I always see you in social places, so we always have to there's a lot of other people to like consider and
100%.
everything, and I know that this would like ruin any sort of
Nah,
social
man.
gathering.
No, and I appreciate the conversation, but
Yeah.
I appreciate the person you are in those social gatherings as well. Just against the grain, man. I know you both had a lot on your plate, but you guys, it seemed like you guys still made the time to go to talk to everyone as much as possible. And little things like that matter, bro. When you're building a brand, when you're building a community, little
Gotta
things
be
like
present.
that matter, man. So
Yeah, man.
keep up the great work, man.
Aw, dude.
I mean, and wish you guys nothing but the best.
Got to, man. It's an honor to have you on this journey too, because we've done about 30 episodes now. You're kicking off 31.
Let's go.
I think for me, I boxed off like these first 30 as a point for me to like delete some stuff off the memory cards, clean up the space and all that. So like we're entering a new chapter. So I'm right now we're in a turning point, not in a turning point, but we're in a little checkpoint where it's like a lot of appreciation's flooding in.
Yeah.
So it's really good timing that you're here, man. I'm really glad
I
that
appreciate
like,
it.
I love that we've been able to expand beyond musicians because
Yeah.
now I get to freaking put you onto the MF platform, dude.
Yeah,
Because
man.
I really think you have good values, man.
I appreciate that.
I know that we don't
Appreciate
talk
you
a lot,
guys.
but I get to watch alongside, see keep up with the journey, and
Yeah.
dude, so proud of what you've been doing.
Thank you, man.
Congrats
Thank
on everything, and I hope you get to keep climbing.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
congrats, man.
Again, I appreciate you guys for having me, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Hey yo, that's how we do it over here at the HQ, boys. Every Wednesday, legends only. Make sure y'all keep showing love on all of our channels, on all of our platforms. You can find all of our full-length episodes on YouTube at MF Pearl.
You can also keep up with all of our other episodes, everything MF Pearl at mfpearl.com. If you want to keep up with all of our latest updates, we stay most active on Instagram at mfpearl. Or if you're listening to this on your favorite streaming platform, Spotify, Apple Pod, Amazon Music, hey, make sure you share it, like it, give it a rating, save it, whatever you can do to show love on those platforms. But you know how we do over here, boys, every Wednesday. We'll catch y'all next time, live at MFHQ.